Go!
Oh, you're already recording. Hi, Kerckhoffs here. Today I'm going to color this guy. So I took this photo years ago. This is at South Carlsbad State Beach. And what I like about this beach has a lot of pebbles, which is not necessarily good for hanging out at the beach. However, it's very good for photography. So the big rock in the foreground, the big boulder, whatever it's called, and all the pebbles lead your eye towards the tower. And I'm going to color like a bluish tone to the rock. And all these pebbles will get different colors, but very subtly. And then the tower here also gets a nice bright blue. So I'm going to color this image with my Marshall photo oils, which are over here. These are very transparent oils that are dedicated paints for this kind of work. So there's a bunch of colors, probably going to use a lot of these today. And then I'm going to put the colors on with cotton browns, Q-tips, and I probably need the IT stew, which are very pointy Q-tips for the detail work. Okay, let's do this. So normally I like to start with the largest surfaces, because it's just easier to do this first, and so you don't mess up details later when you do the details at the last. However, this time I would like to start with the tower because it's so isolated. I'm not going to color the bluffs or the vegetation on the bluffs. I like the sky the way it is, so the tower is not right next to an area that will get another color. So let's add some sky blue to the Lifeguard tower. And I'll use that same blue for this rock in the foreground later. Let's see, let's do this. This is borderline Q-tip cotton round. I think I can still do it with a cotton round. And now I'll switch to a Q-tip. Wiping off the excess a little bit on the side here. Normally you put on too much, so I can dab it on like I'm doing now. Okay, now let's smooth that out a little bit. So this is a clean cotton round. Okay, so I do like to add a little bit of iridium to that, which is like an aquamarine kind of color. Don't want to overdo it. Good. So now I went over the lines a little bit over here, so we'll remove that with a Q-tip. That's a nice thing about this resin coated photo paper is that you can still easily remove this paint. Like it's sitting on top, it doesn't soak into the photo paper. A little bit over here. Okay. And even if I did go over the lines here on the black part, you don't see it anyway, so I'm not worrying about that. And then, let's see, it's gonna be tough, but let's give it a shot. This top railing here also has the color on it, but let's see if we can remove that with one of these ITs and make it all shiny white again. Start over here. There you go, it's not too bad. This photo is 24 by 16 inches, so the railing is like smaller than ever. Of course, with a 36 by 24 inch photo, which I've done this one at too, it's a little bit easier to remove the paint from the railings. I don't have to do the other ones because they're so subtle, so small you don't see it. Now let's move on to the big rock here. Can use the same cotton round as I used before. Putting on some sky blue. Taking the clean side now, I'm removing a little bit here and there, just to break up the uniformity of all the color. So it's like adding back in highlights. Then what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of like a light brown, like burnt sienna or sepia, to some of these areas. Let's see what we have here. Let's try burnt sienna, but keep it very subtle. So pick up a little bit, remove a bunch, and put it on here. So now what I like to do is I'm going to color all the sand that's between the pebbles with sepia. But I'm going to keep it very subtle. Probably have to remove a lot later. Well, let's see. Yeah, this is put on way too thick, but I find it's the best way to do it. Put it on thick, then remove it later. I like to keep the boulders all gray. Well, maybe add a little blue later, but less than I did with this one. I'm also just going over the pebbles here. Some of these will get a different color later, we can just go over it. Might add, this is kelp, might add a little bit of color to that also. I'm never sure if this is actually the part of the boulder or it's sand lying on top of the boulder here. Sometimes I color with all blue here too, sometimes like this, it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's all the color of this sand and pebbles I want to add. So let's take the clean side now, and we're going to remove a lot of it. Like this is too intense up here. Still want it a lot less. See how I'm picking up the color. pretty good. So I removed a lot up here and less here. So you still have a little bit of a gradient from less saturated to more saturated. So now let's do these boulders now. Let's see if I can still use the blue that's on the cotton round. I'm not going to need much here. Probably still have to remove some of this. Okay, so that's too much. Taking a clean one. Which is one of the very, very subtle blue. Now let's add some subtle blue to some of these pebbles. So I think this is the Q-tip I used earlier. This is not too hard to do because I'm not worrying about going over the lines, as a matter of speaking. It's not the most crucial. Still going to tone that down a little bit. It's barely noticeable, but it's there. Especially the difference between the cool and the warm, the cool of these pebbles and the warm of the sepia toned ones. Now a few of these will get some burnt sienna. Where did I put it? There. Of course that's too much, but we will worry about that later. Very little bit of, see if I can still get into this orange. No, it's pretty much dry. Here's a little bit of orange here. And then tone it down with the other side. But as I said earlier, I would like a little bit of color on this kelp. So let's put some burnt sienna on that. And that's it. Okay, here was the final result. Very happy with it. It did go a little more subtle on the colors than I thought it was going to. Anyway, the rock stands out, tower stands out, and if you like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.
Bye.